Welcome back, everyone, and may the fourth be with you. This is Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick and handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and Andy doesn't seem to realize that it's Star Wars Day, not Star Trek Day. And I might point out, by the way, and this is actually something I ripped from a Donald Glover joke from Community, they never go to a star. There is no war at a star. There is no trek to a star. They only ever go to planets.
It's hot. Stars are hot as shit. You ever been? It's even outside,
No.
even when you go to like Mexico, the sun is too hot for me. I can't imagine getting any closer than that. Um, Speaking of the Suns, they're good. That was it's gonna be maybe the one series. It's funny how like in the NBA chat, we've had so much talk about the Warriors. The Warriors Grizzly might be end up being the best series, just because despite as somebody keeps saying it's not the 2016 Dubs, it's still a decent enough team that this is probably going to be a fun back and forth. And like maybe now if the Celtics are going to put shit together, that one might not be as fun anymore. And the Mavs Suns is going to be okay, even if the Suns kind of romp in that. But man, the your Sixers series just like people just forgot about it. It's almost like who's the fourth series? Oh yeah, the Heat and Glenn putting the one. It just despite everything that we've said poorly about Glenn Rivers and his soon to be over, hopefully, probably, possibly tenure in the city of brotherly love, like losing. I mean, he's a top five player, right? When he's at his best, he's a top five player in the league. That there's no arguing that. Losing a top five player on your team that takes up a big spot in your front court, you're not going to win a series against a team like the Heat. Like, I'm not saying it's a 0% chance. Everything's non-zero. I don't work in absolutes. Anything can happen. The Heat could suffer 3 injuries tonight, but man, it feels like you're drawing dead once somebody cracks their eye socket. I don't know. I am
I
not a
don't,
doctor.
I've just been calling it as eyeball bone because, as an official doctor, I try to use the real terms. But the Sixers, it's just, we're finally starting to get all the symptoms and problems of just poor decisions made for years and years. I mean, they've been giving away draft picks, and now you look, and I know that's the playoffs, but gosh, things are really thin. And Glenn hasn't done anything during the season to ready any of these guys. Like Paul Reed should have been playing, 15, 20 minutes every couple, probably once a week or so just to get him some form, get him some familiarity with what's going on. And we're relying on guys that are terrible. I mean, he sat at a press conference the other day and defended starting DeAndre Jordan. It's 2022. He was starting. DeAndre Jordan was almost washed in 2012. I mean, this is ridiculous. But it's nice. It's quiet. I don't seem to be the only person thinking about it, and it'll be over soon, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll be on to. Let's just let's make an assumption. If you had to, who do you think is more likely in your mind, throwing out the odds, throwing out everything that's happened, and now some injuries? Who do you think advances in the Dub series? Uh,
I
it's
think
a
it's the
coin flip in my
Warriors.
mind. I still think it's the Warriors in 6 or 7. As much love as there is for the Grizz, Ja is either the best player on the planet that night, or it's like he's totally lost. There were big stretches in that Timberwolves series, like where people joked like, is he throwing the game? He looks horrible. So there's just no in between. If you get a game or two of that, like the Dubs have enough players to take advantage, despite several of them being washed. So, just Phoenix. Even if it's Phoenix, Memphis, or Phoenix, Golden State is a great series. That's fun with all the star power. And then, I mean, I'm jacked for. I wanted Heat Celtics from the beginning. I think as much as I cheered for your Phillies, that's not what they are. That's the baseball team. The Phillies basketball team, not Villanova. Um,
Philadelphia's. No.
I think Heat Celtics is going to be a good series. Like we all said that whoever gets to the finals in the East, it's going to be just a what do they say in England? A cracker of a series. Doesn't mean the same thing here. Maybe we shouldn't use cracker as much.
I think the Milwaukee-Boston series will still be pretty tight. You look at last night's games, and so both of those Milwaukee-Boston games have had kind of two aberrant shooting performances. You had the Celtics shoot
Yeah.
33% from the field in game one. Last night, the Bucks only 3 for 18 from three. So I think that series will still be pretty competitive. The reason I like the Warriors, they've just shown more poise. And again, I'm not, this is a different Warriors team, but Memphis has been very up and down. And you look again last night, only 7 for 38 from three for the Warriors. I mean, they hit a couple more of those, and that game flips the other way. So I think Memphis was lucky to get out of there, winning the game by 5, where they shot less than 40% from the field. So I still like the Warriors there. But let's jump into tonight. No picks for me yet. Again, these lines look pretty solid. When you get to these playoff lines, whatever the number closed in the last game, it pretty much is what it opens for the following game. And short of an injury or some wild change, it makes sense for the most part. I mean, the Sixers line, I'm looking here, the Heat are -8, makes sense. The Sixers did keep that game a little closer, I think, than people expected. And again, just another sort of aberrant shooting performance. I forget what they were, but I think it was something like 3 for 20 or something from three. So that should balance itself out a little bit more. I thought about maybe an over here, but I just don't know what the pace is going to look like. If James Harden is going to try to take a more active role again, it will try to drive, it does generally drive the pace down the way he likes to hold on to the ball. We'll see what's going on. It's just there's so much turmoil and so much to figure out with what's going on the Sixers between them forcing DeAndre Jordan on the floor, playing guys more minutes than they're used to, and apparently Tyrese Maxey, James Harden don't like each other. So a lot to figure out there. Probably, if you wanted to bet here, maybe go with the over. And then Suns Mavericks, had the Suns in the last game, and the Mavericks got close there at the end, but probably with only within the number for maybe about a minute or so of the game. Total looks pretty solid to me. Thought again about an under here. I thought we saw a little bit of a high scoring performance, but the numbers all look solid. Again, if you're looking for some angles, maybe an over in the Sixers Heat game and an under in the Mavericks Suns games, but nothing for me tonight.
I'm just gonna wait for one team to be down a bunch. Boom, value.
Boom.
Boom, value. I do that with golf sometimes. Golf is different though. It's not like sometimes you get what you keep saying, an abhorrent, an aberration from somebody who probably isn't going to win a golf tournament. Somebody goes 63 in the morning, and you have a very good golfer in the afternoon. They're not going to adjust his odds crazily, but sometimes you get some value on some people in the middle of the board. But golf live betting, I have won outrights betting live golf outright. So I think the first one I ever bet was a win, and it was a win for exactly $0 when it came down to it, because it was the year Sergio won the Masters, and I had a Justin Rose ticket, and those two were dueling, and I'm like, I want to cheer for Sergio. I don't want him to lose. Like I want him to win, so I bet enough on him where it would just be like, if he wins, I'll break even, and that'll make me happy enough. So yeah, my first ever live golf outright was a winner. Like I won money on that specific
Not
bet.
losing money is fun.
Yeah, I
Really
won
wrong not
money.
losing money.
You win money. That bet won money. Just my portfolio, if you will, of bets for that golf tournament did not for outright. So speaking of golf, we are back. We're done with the team event, and God knows what happened in Mexico. Actually, not the worst tournament, especially if you made a goof around bet to have a laugh and post in the golf channel. Look what I parlayed Rom with a basketball team. This is funny. And it's like, shit, now I got to cheer for this on Sunday. Like, it's still worth some money. So ended up, but my full tournament matchups did well. That's kind of my bread and butter, always has, always will be. Daily stuff pretty much broke even. I haven't cleaned up my numbers on that one yet, but 4 so far this week. I may add this afternoon. More books start opening. Very happy to see Bookmaker open, and none of I think maybe one of them was a slightly better number, but sometimes you'll bet this at I bet Neesmith over Doug Gim at +110. Bookmaker's not open. Nothing worse than seeing Bookmaker open and it's like +135. God damn it. The market, the money in the market does not think this is smart. So ended up with some half decent bets. Some of these you'll have to hunt around to find these numbers. I posted these in the Discord the other day. If you're in the BetSports Golf Discord, you're going to get these earlier. I'm pretty good about posting it as soon as I bet. I've turned that into part of my tracking process, just like post in the Discord so you don't forget. But yeah, Neesmith over Gim. That's another one I actually put in the newsletter. Speaking of promoting things, read the newsletter. It's free. Just go to betsportsgolf.com/newsletter. I think you sign up. Not only is it free, but you get signed up for that. Maybe win a round of golf with Paige just by being signed up. So the Neesmith over Gim one is one I did put in the newsletter. I talked about it. I'm not anti Gim. Like Gim's one of my guys.
They bet on him a
He's
lot.
yeah. I've bet on him. I just have him kind of in the middle of the pack, and it ended up being a spot where at a plus number, I was fine taking Matthew Neesmith. I wrote, he's a box checker this week. He is a good player with his longer irons. You need to be good with your longer irons into some of these. The greens are said to be pretty firm, but guess what? It's raining in Maryland today. So if we end up with a bunch of Wednesday rain, these firm greens may be a little more receptive, which will be nicer. But on firm greens from a buck 75 and out, Neesmith is kind of a whiz with his long irons. So this is a course where you have to club down a little. You have to hit them a little shorter off the tee because it gets really sketchy getting into this tall rough. It's very penal. There's really skinny fairways in some parts. So there's some spots where it's really, really smart to just like, I need a par on this hole. Like, I don't need to hit my driver here. I just need to make it through this hole without blowing up. And there's like 8 of those holes. So a guy who doesn't have to rely on a 330-yard drive to find himself a second shot that he is comfortable with is someone I love here. So people who hit their long irons well are high on my list this week, and Neesmith matches that. So, and he is very accurate off the tee as well. And not having to push it with driver is just going to help him stay in that zone of being a fairway finder. So maybe my favorite play of the week, him over Gim at a plus number. Anything plus number is silly to me. I think Neesmith is somebody who competes for a top 10, top 20 this week. Guys at the top of the board, I bet as well. I'm anti Rory this week. Very hard Rory fade. I wrote Roars because that's what I call them. But
I'm in.
Tony Finau. I didn't even write their names. This one, Tony Finau over Rory McIlroy. That's what that one is reading. Plus 145. There was a plus 150 out there early in the week that you could have grabbed. I don't think Rory's good. As he played very well in the last day of the Masters under one of those, hey, no pressure, you can't win anyway situations. But this isn't. This is definitely not Augusta. The rough is super penal here. You can spray it off the tee and not really run into real big problems at Augusta. Not the case here. He's had that weird two-way miss that's popped in and out of his game. If he's spraying, he's going to have a bad time. I'm betting him to miss the cut probably if I can find a 4-1. That's what Noonan had found when we talked about on the show. So Tony's a guy that has, his numbers are depressed because he played so well in Mexico, but not depressed against Rory. So that's how I decided to attack Finau. And then I hated to fade Patrick Reed again, but man, I have Leishman high again here. And then another one that was just a strict numbers play based on the same kind of stuff I've already talked about was Matthias Schwab over Cam Davis, again at a plus number. So 3+ number bets for me in the golf matchups. So, and if that Tony one comes through, like if the top 2 come through, we're already cashed. There's a lot of ways to go 2-2 and make a little money here on that one, which I'm bouty for. What's going on in the wide world of tennis?
Yeah, I was just sitting here trying to furiously bet against Rory here to miss the cut. I'm trying to see what the best number I have is. I saw a plus 325. But you can always talk me into that. But tennis does continue. The Madrid matches all happening right now. So it's going to be really tough to get any Madrid bets in for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
But it's luckily, Andy. We got a bunch of smaller events. We'll go back to the W125K Challenger Tour and then even down to the ITF for some matches. These will be the first one here will be early tomorrow morning. It's Marina Zanevska. And again, if you look in your book, sometimes it's under WTA, sometimes it's under WTA Challenger or something like that. We'll take a look for Marina Zanevska. This one should be 7:30 or so tomorrow morning Eastern time. She plays against Fiona Ferro. I was just having an awful season. It continues to be priced kind of on the volume of her work over the past 12 months as opposed to what we've seen over the last month or so. Zanevska, a younger player, just continues to get better. It's a solid surface for her. All my numbers point to Zanevska being a pretty solid favorite here, closer to 2.5, 3 games, actually 3 games really against Ferro here. But, I really like this spot for her. Look around. You could find -2 games, -2.5 games. And then this afternoon, let me just double check. believe shortly after the show finishes. You can look her up. This is under ITF Bonita Springs, should be just about everywhere. Gabrielle Talaba, or Gabrielle Talaba Lee, as it's listed sometimes. Whoever's playing Coco Vandeweghe, it's always Coco Vandeweghe. So fade Coco Vandeweghe today, minus 110. Just going to keep fading Vandeweghe. She's been terrible this year. I have Lee a much bigger favorite here, closer to almost minus 150. So Zanevska minus 2 games, 2.5 fine as well, early tomorrow morning, and Talaba Lee shortly after we wrap today.
Do you, Mr. Noops, have a BetUS account?
I do.
I was gonna say you do some work for them. I was gonna paint you in a corner. If you said no, I was gonna yell at you. Like what? Like you do shows for them. You talk basketball with them. They have a 4-1 on Rory to miss the cut.
Thank you
And
for that.
somewhere on the legal side did, but this was Tuesday when we were talking about it. So small bet for me on that 4-1 Rory to miss the cut. I don't mind that. Bonus golf pick. And if he does, that Fino one doesn't cash if he misses the cut. I'm gonna be so mad I could spit nails.
Excellent.
I did have two
Well,
guys miss the cut last week, and I lost the tournament matchup. One guy missed the cut extra hard, like just a real rough Thursday for him. But I think 5 out of my 7 matchups, I had to wait for the conclusion of the tournament, which is sweatier than I like, but such is life.
something to do.
Yeah. If you are in this is a different Discord. This is not something I run. It's something that Stephen Lackman started, a guy from the chats. Like he's always in the YouTube chat. He watches some of the shows, especially the deep dive. He started a Discord. There's like 200 some odd people in there now, just talking sports betting all the time. And Dan will usually drop the show notes and stuff in there. What's happening? It's a bit of a weird schedule today for Drew, for myself, and for our guest, Mike Somich, who we've had on a couple times to talk horses.
Love Mike.
So we're gonna do the deep dive in like half an hour. Like literally like 12:15 Eastern, guys. I don't know how long we'll have Mike. He's very busy. He's at the track. Drew's actually at the track right now. I know he has to leave. He has some other obligations this weekend. I don't know if they're at the track. They're in Louisville at least. They might not be like standing on the rail doing the
Buying
deep
big
dive, but
hats for the
they are in Louisville, and I know he has a ton of stuff. He's been all over. He's been on You Better You Bet. He has his own shows. They're doing short videos on the YouTube channel. If you like horse racing, the Racing Dudes YouTube channel is a good one to check out, because I know I can't sit and watch like some of these 2-hour Derby prep shows, but they're doing like these shorter 6-7 minute videos, like here's why this horse can't win the Derby, or here's how we think of the draw after the draw. They did like a 7 minute. Those are great ones if you need some Derby prep as you head into the weekend. Check that out. We'll have them on the deep dive, like I said. But taking a look at the odds, Dan put together a nice little odds graphic for us here, and you can see it's our guy Messier and Epicenter. The draw on the inside's never good. I don't know how we feel about the rail. Sometimes I never feel good. I don't think anyone's ever won from 18, 19, or 20.
No.
I believe that's the fact. So it's tough for the ones that get pushed out there. There's some people that like Classic Causeway. There are some people who like, Taiba. I don't even know how to say it. Like, this is where I need to get Mike on the show in a half hour so he can help me with the pronunciation. But there's some people that are pretty happy to fade Tiz the Bomb in some matchups once those appear, apparently, because it's a longer horse, but there's a bunch of horses at 30-1. And people think that one might get a little too much love just based on the fact that it has a name because of its breeding line of Tiz the Law. So Tiz the Bomb, maybe a bit of a fade. I don't really have a ton to say about this because I'm about to get filled in. Maybe we'll talk some more Derby later this week once we have matchups. And I guarantee you, and I was, the old phrase goes, I can't speak for, XYZ, this person. I will speak for Noops right now. He will have a man team horse parlay at some point.
100%.
I know. I just know in his heart he's not going to.
Oh, Friday. I might just I should parlay everything with a horse. I don't know. Have everybody in the field.
Well, and that's the beauty of this too. And we'll talk about the Oaks once we get to the deep dive. I haven't seen anything for that, but all day Friday, if you want to, bet your ass off on horses, Churchill has the Oaks all day on Friday. There's racing. Like you can bet some pretty big races on Friday too. One of my favorites is to do the Oaks Derby double. It's just, I mean, it's a parlay, is all it is. And it
Right.
is the winner of the Oaks, which is the biggest race on Friday, and the Derby, obviously the biggest race on Saturday. Then Mike, we talked a little about it with him. He was pretty excited. He said there's some like viable options that are gonna get you like 40 to 1 tickets on that double. Because sometimes it is just, hey, there's a chalk horse that's gonna win one of these and it ruins it. And maybe you can put together a few 10 to 1s that are feasible. But he said there's gonna be some big numbers on the Oaks Derby double. So that's the one I'm most excited about. And obviously, man, team horse. We
I got
have
man team horse.
I don't know if we have UFC. You know, there's always UFC. There, even if it's like Bellator or
There'll be some
like
tennis
Dana
or
White's
something. We'll
Contender
figure it
Series.
out.
But yeah, so you'll have golf, you'll have tennis, you'll have UFC for your man, and then you'll
Beautiful.
have basketball, hockey, soccer, baseball for your team, and then obviously we know where we're finding our horses. So man, team, horse parlays. That's your homework. Come back Friday. Want to see them in the chat. And yeah, quick nod to Prop Swap. I'm not sure if they sell fixed odd Derby futures on that. Might have to check that out. I'm not 100% sure what the rules are. Horse racing betting rules are a little different from state to state. I know. I hate to promote someone who doesn't pay me. I guess they've paid me in the past, but I use TVG because it's just a really good product. Like they really, it's for horse racing. That's why it's so good.
And
But
it's the nice part. You don't have to worry about CLV. It's all going to be the same odds, whatever
yeah,
it is
no,
that they start.
it's parimutuel. If you do like fixed odds, I know our main sponsor FanDuel doesn't have them. I don't think Dan was telling me there's some, just again all the legality of who can offer what and when and where. So check around, shop around. You can bet on these right now. If you don't know the difference between that and the parimutuel, that's maybe a good explainer for later in the week too for some people. But with that, Alex, anything else you're excited about today?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's like a Sixers game tonight. We'll see how that goes. It's just another fun day in the world. See how tennis shakes out.
You should just probably get super high for that game. They're like 8 point dogs.
Not a bad idea.
I'm always coming up with good ideas for you. So, all right, hit the thumbs up, hit the showers. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.